I would be remiss not to ask about this huge news involving Jerome Powell. Talk to me about this Bureau press conference. What did we just learn?
This is about as blistering and unequivocal a takedown as I've ever read from a federal judge. The judge here in Washington, D.C., James Boasberg, said in so many words that it seems like the Trump administration was just trying to find a case against Jerome Powell to influence the Federal Reserve Board chair's decision on interest rates. And the judge said it is not to be through the criminal justice system that we try to affect change in interest rates or the Federal Reserve. He has quashed these subpoenas the Trump administration tried to effect on the Federal Reserve for information about their building renovation. And the judge has made pretty clear there's not enough substance to even let this go to a grand jury, much less to a criminal charge.
Wow. All right, now to the latest on the war. As recently as today, Democrats are still vocally pushing the idea of a War Powers Act to put limits on the president's ability to continue these attacks without Congress. Are you hearing any chatter, any sign of traction that Republicans might be willing to entertain this?
The War Powers vote's going to keep coming up. It's going to be an evergreen over the coming weeks and months as long as this military action plays out. Democrats want to force this issue to argue you have to authorize this stuff through Congress. You can't just do it on your own. That's what there's Congress for. Republicans may slowly erode on this matter. They may be able to pick off a Republican here and there as time goes on. But there are also Democrats telling my colleagues on Capitol Hill that we're in this now, and we have to see this thing through. And war authorization, though a vote may be held, may be the secondary concern to how the war is going in the immediate future, like today and tomorrow and the next day.
Yeah, that makes sense. Are we learning anything more today about yesterday's thwarted synagogue attack outside Detroit?
We know that there was precautions put in place before the attack by that synagogue, by the FBI in Detroit, where they'd actually had a training at the synagogue for a potential active shooter. Even some of the training that was going on behind the scenes as to how to respond to an emergency was underway before this happened. The investigation is going to be not just into the dead attacker, but whether there was any connection, whether that attacker had any accomplices in the planning, people who may be out there still posing a threat. But in the meantime, in Oakland County, Michigan, about 40 minutes northwest of Detroit, there is enhanced security around religious facilities, just like we have here in D.C. and just like we have in New York.
Yeah. Speaking of that, between the synagogue attack and then the shooter at Old Dominion University, are there concerns on the Hill about Iran-backed or Iran-inspired attacks at home becoming more frequent?
There sure are, and there's certainly concerns that the FBI needs to be better prepared. You know, the FBI has lost a lot of manpower. There's been a purge in the Trump administration of some longtime national security expert agents. Some were fired for being parts of Trump cases. Some took that fork in the road or that voluntary departure. So they got to get some more manpower, but you don't just replace manpower with new people because you lose institutional memory. So the question is here in Washington, has the FBI been at least a little bit hollowed out at a most inopportune moment, as there is this increased threat in the homeland for lone wolf attack?
Speaking of institutional memory, before we let you go, today marks the end of an era at CBS News. You're embarking on a new journey, and I can only imagine, knowing you for years now, this has to be a bittersweet moment.
It is a terribly bittersweet moment as one of those kids who grew up wanting to be Jim Jensen and wanting to sit in that chair I think you're sitting in right now. Channel 2 has a place in the heart of all New Yorkers and all Hudson Valleyers, and has for many years. And working on Channel 2 was the capstone and really the highlight of my life.
Well, you have spent years walking us through complicated political stories. You always have thoughtful analysis, insight, and of course, impeccable sources. But more than anything, Scott, you've always been a wonderful friend and colleague. We're all going to miss you very much, but maybe it's not goodbye. See you later.
Thank you, Jess. Same to you.
Bye.